So members of parliament have descended like a ton of bricks on the Speaker of Parliament, Thoko Didiza, accusing her of taking Ramaphosa's side when she's supposed to take Parliament's side. In this video, I'm going to show you what went down there. But if you stay with me until my biblical reaction, I think you're going to be left feeling just, slightly positive and remembering that South Africa will prosper. You ready? Okay, press like, let's go. So let's start with this part from yesterday's impeachment committee meeting. At the beginning of it, they just went through a quick timeline, which I think you'll enjoy seeing who's been writing what to who in Parliament.
On the 3rd of June as well, a letter from the President's attorneys was addressed to the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Chairperson of the Impeachment Committee. The President's attorneys informed Parliament that while preparations for the impeachment process can continue, they asked that the formal inquiry be paused until a court review is decided. They argued that this avoids unfair prejudice and wasted effort if the court later rules in the President's favor. They asked that the Speaker respond by the 8th of June. On the 8th of June, a follow-up letter was received from the President's attorneys addressed to the Chairperson. The President's attorneys asked the Chairperson directly to pause the impeachment hearing until the court review is finalized, while allowing preparations to continue. They note that the Speaker has passed the decision to the Chairperson and that the court process is being expedited. On the 9th of June, a response by the Chairperson through the State Attorney to the President's attorneys. The Chairperson rejects the President's request to pause the formal impeachment inquiry and confirms that the committee will continue with its work. Only a court order can stop the process, as the committee is legally required to proceed under the Constitution and are bound by the Constitutional Court decision. On the 15th of June, a letter from the Chairperson to the members of the committee. Members are informed that the President has filed an urgent court application to stop the impeachment committee and its proceedings. The Chairperson has requested legal advice on what this means and what the committee should do next. The meeting was scheduled to be held on the 18th of June to brief members on the legal opinion and decide on a way forward. On the 15th of June, a letter was received from the ACDP and was addressed to the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Chairperson. The ACDP opposes the President's court application to stop the impeachment inquiry, saying it would delay the process for many months, would delay accountability and weaken Parliament's role, as well as prevent Parliament from carrying out its constitutional duty. They also call for an urgent committee meeting to deal with the matter quickly. On the 15th of June, a letter from Action SA was addressed to the Speaker and the Chairperson. Action SA strongly opposes the President's interdict and urges Parliament to fight it legally. They argue that the President is trying to delay or avoid accountability. Parliament must not allow this. They question the President's claim for urgency and emphasize that Parliament has a constitutional duty to continue the impeachment process. They proceed to call for the committee to meet urgently and continue its work without delay. On the 18th of June, a letter from the Chairperson was addressed to the Speaker of the National Assembly. The committee resolves to oppose the President's interdict and will continue its work unless a court says otherwise. The committee asked the Speaker to support this decision to ensure a unified position from Parliament and given its importance and urgency. On the 20th of June, the response was received from the Speaker of the National Assembly to the Chairperson. The Speaker confirms that she will not join the committee in formally opposing the President's interdict. Instead, she has filed a notice to abide with an explanatory affidavit. She explains that Parliament must continue with the impeachment process unless a court decides otherwise. The matter is now properly the responsibility of the impeachment committee, which must act independently within its mandate. She believes her approach and the committee's stance are not in conflict, but rather reflect their different roles.
And so that's where the blow-up comes from.
Chair, this is just an observation, and it relates to the Speaker's response. In my opinion, there's a lot that I think many people get wrong. The Speaker's independence is important, but that relates very much to the review application and the merits of this impeachment. And I agree there that the Speaker should absolutely be impartial. However, when it comes to the interdict application, it is a question of the Speaker taking a position to back Parliament versus backing the President. And she cannot, under those circumstances, be impartial. She must always, by definition, choose the side of Parliament. And we must make that point. With regard to the merits of the impeachment and the review process, the Speaker must be impartial. But by definition, the Speaker must always protect Parliament against anyone else who wants to stop Parliament from doing its job. I want to make that point. Impartiality, when it comes to defending Parliament, is maybe too convenient an excuse. And I do just want to very strongly, again, express my disappointment, if I can put it mildly.
And what does Malema think?
Because we all spoke in one language, including members of the DA, who said the Speaker must be the one who carries this responsibility. That's where there was a difference. But that we are going to oppose, it was a principle. And I like the giraffe view of this committee. You can see we're being set up for a trap. That no, leave it, the Speaker will deal with it. They knew what they were going to do. They were setting up South Africans. Leave it, the Speaker will deal with it. When we say no, let's leave it to the Speaker. Speaker was going to do exactly what she did and will not be represented. I hope South Africans can see their dishonesty. That even when they were taken below the necessary numbers, they're still continuing with that conduct of calling a swimming pool a fire pool. That conduct is still continuing. And I hope some of you, comrades, don't want to go down with that image of opposing the obvious. So the Speaker acted wrongfully by not opposing. The President is challenging the panel report of Parliament. The Speaker's advice, legal advice, was only one option: oppose. There was no two options. Speaker can't rely on the legal advice of our committee. She went to get her own legal advice, said oppose. Then the legal advice told her what she didn't want to hear. Then she says when she does interviews, which is dishonest, the legal advice said, I also have an option to abide. Her advice doesn't have that option. It is your advice which has got that option. It's our advice, and she has no right to use our advice. They were not advising her. She got her own advice, and the advice said, go to court. So as a committee, we need to take a very strong view that we're disappointed by what the Speaker did because her duty is to protect Parliament.
And what does the official opposition, the MK leader, think?
Honorable Shop, it is very clear to me that the Speaker totally misconstrued her role in this matter. Her duty is to uphold the Constitution and to protect Parliament. She has failed dismally in that regard.
And the ACDP was pretty chuffed about this chairperson.
Honorable Sat.
Chair, thank you. Firstly, I want to thank you for your very prompt response to the letter from the ACDP. I'm not sure if we've received a response from the Speaker yet, but we highlighted there our desire that both you and the Speaker should oppose the interim application, setting out very cogent legal reasons why that should be done. And Chair, I'd also want to commend you for acceding to our request for an early meeting. We requested for Wednesday, but Thursday was given that we needed to get senior legal counsel opinion. That was quite understandable, and to commend the staff and the legal team for getting that senior counsel's opinion, which was very compelling regarding the tests for an urgent application. We still are disappointed with the Speaker's decision, given the fact that this is the institution of Parliament where an interdict has been sought, in not opposing this and in not protecting the institution of Parliament, given this is an impeachment hearing which is very severe. It's setting legal precedents going forward. So, Chair, again, to commend from your side, and thank you for your very quick response to this.
And of course, as you can imagine, the people from the ANC backed the Speaker and said she made a good decision. But remember, when President Ramaphosa first wrote to the Speaker and the chairperson of the impeachment committee, he was saying, do everything else up until when I appear. Because he knows that once he appears to testify, it's only going to lead to one place. So I suspect before he gets to testify, I agree with those who say what happened in the United Kingdom 2 days ago with Keir Starmer is exactly what President Ramaphosa will do. He'll say something like this.
The question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general election. I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question, and I accept that answer with good grace. Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess. In the case of a contest, this will ensure a new leader is in place before Parliament returns in September.
Wow, so Keir Starmer has resigned. So, back to the Speaker. 2 days ago, she had an interview with Clement Manyatela and he was grilling her about abiding and going with an explanatory affidavit instead of full-on opposing.
So when the president wrote a letter to me, I advised the president that this is what the court says in clause 130 of its judgment. But secondly, in terms of our rules of parliament, that matter is now with the committee, not with the speaker. And the speaker can't interfere with the determination of the committee on its work.
Yeah.
So my view was I have done everything that the court had said I will do, I needed to do. And the committee has objectively looked at this matter and reached this decision.
Okay.
I can't interfere with the functioning of that committee, but my explanatory affidavit to the court will explain what I have done, which will ensure that we actually abide with the Concord decision. And the court will then look and make its own determination and say, this is what, as a court, having listened to you, Speaker, having listened to the committee, having listened to the points of argument from the president, this is how we rule.
Okay, Speaker, I'm a bit confused because I've been going through the legal opinion your office received, and I'm not seeing the two options you're talking about. Are you saying that?
I'm not sure which legal opinion. You see the challenge with leaked documents. You are never in control of what was leaked because you have not been offered. So I'm not sure which legal opinion are you actually speaking about?
The one from Kameshini Pillay, Senior Counsel, Asanda Deepa. This was sent to you on the 18th of June. It's a 23-page legal opinion.
Well, I've received several legal opinions from Kameshini. So that's why I'm saying I don't know which one are you referring to.
So just to confirm then, you're saying that from Kameshini you've received two legal opinions. The one I'm looking at says you have to oppose or they advise us to oppose, but you're saying there's another one that said you can abide. That's another option you have.
Actually, options in the legal document are always two. The lawyer will say, here are the options. You as a client, you decide this is what as lawyers think. and you are a client, you give the instructions, you engage with your lawyers, other permutations that they might have not come to, and enter into an agreement. And that's why I'm saying that the unfortunate part, we're discussing not an official document, a leaked document.
Yeah,
which I don't know how it landed on your
well,
table.
you know, Speaker, this is how it works. Documents get leaked
Well,
all the time,
unfortunately,
and that's why we can invite
how?
you to come and clarify. It happens all the
And that's
time.
exactly, and that's, I know it happens all the time, and that's exactly why sometimes it puts you guys in the trouble, because you base your, your analysis on what you're not sure whether is the official. Because if the source who gave you the report had enough to ask the Speaker's office to say, is this the final document?
Yeah, so
I would have advised him.
and that's why we've got you on air, because we want you to clarify whether there are two legal opinions
and
or
that's
not.
what I'm clarifying,
So-
that there are two.
So that's how she chose to play it. Now, does the Speaker have to oppose? Well, nothing really says that she has to oppose. Did the legal opinion tell her to oppose? Yes, but it was a legal opinion, not a legal instruction. What really describes the Speaker's position? Well, first of all, let's talk Parliament. If we go to the Constitution, the National Assembly, 55(2) must provide for mechanisms to maintain oversight of the exercise of national executive authority. So that's the president. But let's talk about the Speaker now. The general responsibility and authority of the Speaker, according to the rules of Parliament, if you go to 26, in exercising the authority of the Speaker must, what must she do? She must ensure that the National Assembly scrutinizes and oversees executive action in accordance with Section 42(3) of the Constitution. So her role is to make sure that Parliament scrutinizes and oversees the President, just like Section 42(3) says. Well, what does Section 42(3) of the Constitution say? Well, it says that Parliament is elected to represent us, me and you, to represent us doing what? Scrutinizing and overseeing executive action. So, Parliament is responsible to scrutinize the President. But then the Speaker is the head of Parliament. And so the argument does stand that, come on, Speaker, if we are under attack, we expect you to be in the front fighting. So what did she do? Well, what she did is legally defensible. It's institutionally suspect, but is optically wrong, because she has actually decided, I'm not going to be seen in the ring with you punching. Bonsai is not going to get a video title that says Thoko Didiza opposes Ramaphosa. However, what she did do is she gives full backing so that it's rather Magashule Ghana opposes Ramaphosa, and she gives him the boxing gloves and is in his corner giving him water and a massage, right? And saying, just punch there, by giving the institutional weapon of her explanatory affidavit, which actually opposes the president. So that's what she pulled. So my biblical reaction: behold, I'll do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I'll even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. What's my thought about this? Because the big debate is going on everywhere about whether is the speaker right, is the speaker wrong. Well, I mean, she's kind of wrong and she's kind of right. And of course, it also comes on top of years of complete abuse of our institutions, complete abuse of citizens, defending nonsense. And so since this is coming on top of that, of course, then it's charged, because when the speaker doesn't come out strong and defend Parliament from a really silly interdict, if you ask me, if this interdict actually goes anywhere, I will be really, really shocked. So she's given an explanatory affidavit. The explanatory affidavit on its own is enough to sink this interdict. And on top of that, you then have the EFF, the ATM, and Magashule Ghana, the chair of the impeachment committee, going full force opposing the interdict. And so I don't see any kind of sober judge who will even entertain this interdict, because it's really ridiculous. The speaker just sinking him with a explanatory affidavit, if you think about it legally, and the risk to Parliament, I kind of think if there wasn't the history of ANC abuse, we'd kind of be thinking, smart move, pretty good one. And of course, we do expect the opposition to make it black and white and just say, you did nothing, you ignored the opinion. And she didn't. She did go with an explanatory affidavit, and she has a committee that she's financing with legal representation to actually oppose it. And you realize that in the law, nothing says that the speaker must oppose. Of course, optically, if she opposed, she would strengthen Parliament, she would strengthen the institution. But has she abandoned her duty? Nah, that's kind of pushing it. I don't think she did. I think she did what the speaker is required to do. Did she do the right thing? Well, I think that's still debatable. But I am so happy to be having this kind of debate going on in the country, because we have lived through years of ANC abuse where we have been debating nonsense, garbage, absolute garbage that should never be debated in a country of sober people. So I'm happy that we're actually dealing with a proper political debate. And the speaker kind of played chess, balance institutional requirements with political considerations, and did not break the legal requirement, because you can defend it legally. You absolutely can. And in terms of the institution, you can't hold her accountable for abandoning or betraying the institution. But politically, of course, opposition parties must make a noise. That's what they're there for. So I'm really happy to see a new thing happening in our country. At a point where this goes really bad against the president, the speaker is acting like someone with sense, someone you can respect and disagree with. So anyway, no man can serve two masters, because either you love the one or hate the other, or you despise the one and honor the other. You can't serve God and Karl Marx. Let's make history together. South Africa will prosper, and the new oppressor will be defeated. The oppressor that speaks of transformation when the ordinary family is not transformed will be defeated. The oppressor who hides their current oppression behind historic oppression will be defeated, and South Africa will prosper. Let's make it together. Cheers.